should take a moment to reflect upon where the business how the business has changed in the last decade. So it was very much a director and star-driven medium when I came to town. Right. And what happened primarily because of the nature of, it's always about the business model. You always follow the money. Because of the DVD market built, and that was essentially a brand and star-driven medium, and it was very profitable for the studios because the revenue split was very much geared towards the parent company, and then the bottom dropped out mostly because of online theft, and as that big revenue stream fell off the cliff, a decision was made categorically to not greenlight movies that were driven by DVD sales, and so the theatrical window is becoming more and more important, which means that you can't place a roulette bet on 19, you have to place it on black or red. You're doing big franchises where you're putting a lot of money on the table because you could only compete at that budget level in a certain release window, which is the summer or holiday. And so things become about franchises. And that whole swath of movies that used to win Oscars and were filmmaker driven and mid-range budget movies are very, very difficult bets right now. And so less and less, if any, of those films are most of the Oscar movies of the last couple decades wouldn't really be greenlit now. And then you have these micro-budget movies where if it's done for a very small amount of money, they could break out comedies, horror films. And so at the upper end where you have very powerful directors, there's also very powerful studios and often not the same director going through the whole franchise. And so I think that there is a moment now where the power is shifting away from filmmakers. In certain cases they are, and in certain cases they're not. And sometimes it's the studio that's wielding the power, sometimes it's the producer, and sometimes it's the director. But I think it's a bit of a jump ball. At the lower level, independent films, you have it, and now you're seeing a lot of these directors with visions moving to new media because you have companies that are pretty cash rich making those compelling properties now, and you're seeing things pop up for binge viewing. And that's why I think we're experiencing a golden age of television right now. If you include online content with television, you're seeing wonderful, wonderful high-budget productions. So I think as technology and the economics change, you're seeing television becoming more director-driven and producer-driven because you need 13 hours of content now, and one director can't do that. So in some cases, a director is important because they launch the franchise, like Fincher with House of Cards or something like that, but he's not directing every hour of that. So the model is a bit on its ear, and I don't know that a director could step in unless they need that director to help brand the material and allow it to travel internationally, which is huge now. So I think it's a complicated time, and I think it begs for negotiation between people in a way that wasn't necessarily the case. And there are a few people that can come in and do it all and understand how the process works from every aspect. And I think that's welcome. But I think that there's also a lot of negotiations where people are sitting around saying, here's independent people with money, a lot of money, here's a brand, here's a filmmaker, here's a showrunner, what are we gonna do? And it's an exciting time for that, to be honest with you. It's very refreshing because it's not like the network politics anymore.